Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's me, RDV, and somehow Zach found out about this and was upset, so he wormed his way in.
And now we're upset.
You invited me.
I've been replacing you. Who
I
invited
know.
you back?
Who said that who said you could come back? Vinkman invited me back. I thought he would have booted you.
When the old girlfriend fights with the new girlfriend.
I'm so confused.
I'm not your girlfriend.
Obviously not anymore.
How do I get booted?
Well, you see, you touch your computer and then it reboots.
Anyway,
Anyway,
what are we talking about today, Vangman? Go ahead, please.
what are we talking about tonight, you mean? Because it's not today anymore, it's tonight.
Whatever, day, night, it doesn't matter.
How long have you been in that room?
So
Tonight
you
we're-
moved out of a closet into a room that still doesn't have a window.
Oh, it has windows, he just can't see out of them. He's too short.
Well, he could put an eyeball in that freakishly long finger and just hold it up. He can see out of anything.
Just like Mr. Potato Head, just like hold
Like
it
a
up.
periscope.
That would be My Hero Academia.
Oh yes, that guy.
Yeah, so anyway, for those who are wondering, this is, I guess, again, this is Retrospective Friday night. We're talking about the one, the only Nick Fury and the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Well, he's an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. First appearance of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Nick Fury, and also the life model decoys.
Wait a second, that's not Samuel L. Jackson.
Before there was Samuel L. Jackson, there were people who actually like comic books.
This is what happens
Lies.
when two of the three people I'm streaming with aren't as old as me if you put their ages together. You get nonsense like this.
Actually, fun fact. Samuel L. Jackson. Well, maybe Ultimate Nick Fury had come along but I wasn't reading the Ultimate Universe when I first got into comics. This was the first Nick Fury I ever read. The original.
We have Ted Raimi down there on the little headset, and then we got Rock Hudson.
Good lord, he's got like gorilla forearms. He's like Popeye.
He's a manly model.
Okay, let's start with the first panel here. They tell him that the slightest move could kill him, but they let him keep his cigar in his mouth.
Yes.
If you're gonna die, at least let him die smoking.
Yeah.
Don't even breathe, he says.
Oh, so he can't even smoke. He's just holding it.
Look at his feet, though. Rob Liefeld. Have mercy.
Listen, you get some nails on those toes, it should be okay.
Those are pixel toes.
He rips off his he is like Ultimate Hawkeye. He rips off his toenails to like throw them as weapons. Maybe that's why he doesn't.
Gross.
Have any.
Did not need to know that.
Well, that's what Ultimate Hawkeye does. Anyway,
Or Vince Coletta erased him.
there you go. Could be that too.
Yeah, probably.
So Fury, at this point, he's basically in the they're making copies of him. So they're scanning his body. They got the little wires on the gizmos. Now they're carrying him over. They're going to drift him off the sea as a Viking funeral.
They look like those old school football players.
Or is that
with
a
leather
coffin?
helmets? Well, I like that line where it's like, all we need is Bela Lugosi walking around, or Lugosi.
I'm going to tell you right now, the way Kirby draws him, Nick Fury, and everybody talks about how Samuel Jackson's great and stuff, but no, when you see this original Nick Fury, the way he's drawn, he is just drawn. He's a man's man.
He's he's got a very distinct look.
So Sergeant Fury and the Howling Commandos, that was
Colonel.
Yeah. He says several times he's just a colonel.
Yeah, but that was after this book, obviously they relaunched the character.
No, okay. Sergeant Fury, I believe, started in 1963.
Yeah.
This started in 65 because by that time there were a couple of James Bond movies that had come out, and the spy movie craze was everywhere. You were starting to see shows pop up like Man from U.N.C.L.E. was not far after this. And everybody was making spy movies. So Martin Goodman, never being one to let a good trend go to waste, he hopped on that with Nick Fury. So they did the came with the S.H.I.E.L.D. concept. And Sergeant Fury was a popular character. They'd already used him once in Fantastic Four 21, So they figured it would be a good fit for this. So they created this series and decided to use the Nick Fury character as the main character.
So this is a second appearance of Nick Fury, or third?
As in present day, it's second appearance.
Yeah. Okay.
So Pixel's kind of wrong.
They do all the. Of course, they have all the cool spy tropes. They have the cool spy car that can fly, and
this was cool too. I like this. The wheels come up because we've seen that. I've seen it in some of the cartoons. They do that.
There's actually, I want to go ahead and say, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was a show that came out, and when it did, it has pretty much that car.
Pretty much that
car.
Lola, right?
Lola.
Lola.
Her name was Lola. Yes.
I think this scene is great. How Nick is just freaking out over everything, and Reed Richards' more uptight brother driving the car. It's just just so nonchalant, matter of fact. Yeah, because that's a great reaction for a character who's he's
freaking out. It's first time seeing all
this. He's a war sergeant. I mean, so
yeah. He's thrust into the world of spycraft here, advanced spycraft,
and he doesn't even like he says later on. He's like, I don't want this. I'm just a regular G-man. I'm just a regular colonel. Y'all don't want me doing this. I did actually like that a lot because like a lot of stuff I read about Nick Fury, he's like more modern day Nick Fury or pre-modern, whatever you want to call him. He was like, he's very alpha male. He'd be like the guy that knows everything. So it was kind of refreshing to read him as like kind of the rookie. It's like Fury's first day on the job.
He's kind of like Will Smith in Men in Black. He's first being exposed to this.
He is.
But he's much more manly than Will Smith.
He's got the manliness of Tommy Lee Jones, but he's in Will Smith's role.
Yes.
I want to talk about how stupid these people are. Hey, what kind of plane is that? It looks kind of like a flying car.
Is that Norman Osborn? It looks like Norman Osborn almost. He just needs the cornrows.
I'm something of a scientist myself. I know about these flying cars.
More like Will Smith in Men in Black than Will Smith in Oscars.
Good one right there.
Look at the helmet with a little screen in it.
That's
cool. I know that was neat.
Cool.
That's very Get Smart kind of like that. Almost has like the same vibe as like when he had like the shoe phone and everything. that was cool.
And they were introduced to Hydra Bob.
Hydra Bob.
Look at how fat is it tied in this costume?
Yeah, Hydra Bob's been having too many Hydra donuts.
Are those just really baggy pants, or is he just that fat?
I don't know.
I think they're baggy. I think they're just baggy.
Maybe.
And then he's got his pet panther.
I know, this crazy rabid panther.
Look at the number.
And then we find out why this isn't included in the Hydra recruitment pitch.
Yes. On to the
one failure, and he owned up to it. If I'm that dude, I'm getting on that bike, knowing what's coming. I'm getting the hell out of there.
Yeah,
for real.
Get the hell out of Dodge, Bob.
So he goes back, and he gets put in a life and death battle. But his opponent has a gun. He doesn't. He says, "That's not fair." They say, "No shit."
I want to live.
Can you imagine this? Just swinging back and forth on this, and you're trying to fight too. It's like I can't shoot because I'm getting nauseous from the down.
Okay. Let's be real here. Of all the Disney Plus series, why do I not have one set in the past with this? I want to see this.
The Pendulum of Doom. I can't watch it. I'll get nauseous just watching that.
Okay.
Good.
You need a stronger stomach.
I'm trying, but I can't, sir.
And then, plot twist, the Hydra agent that defeats the failure one is a woman. That's right. Women can be Hydra.
And she has multiple arms.
Yeah, if you give them a gun.
Wait, is that Sue Storm?
No, can't be Sue Storm.
It's her mother.
Don't give modern Marvel any ideas. They're gonna give Sue Storm the Hail Hydra treatment.
Well, she already was Man of Hydra.
No, she wouldn't. Was she?
I believe she did, actually, in one of the things.
She was Lady Malice or something, but I don't.
But
think
in
she
the
was
Elseworlds, she was.
Oh,
All right,
Elseworlds.
so here we are back on the helicarrier
with Howard Stark. I mean, Tony Stark.
Who is this guy? Tony Stark just popping up and everything, even back then.
I like the X-ray thing. They had the skeletons.
Yeah, the X-ray is cool.
Well, he was the leading, weapons manufacturer for the government, so it would make sense that he would be involved in this, and so he, meets Nick Fury and they chat.
It makes sense.
You're the Playboy Arms inventor.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You know who you are.
Yes, I sit in the middle. The rest of you.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Oh my gosh.
Go ahead and sit right in the middle, Colonel, so we can all see you.
On the Extreme Movie Show, I watch and review a show called The Prisoner. And I cannot tell you how many times I've seen a scene just like this. You have a council all around, and you have the main character seated in the middle, and it usually spins. The chair spins around. They go ahead and fold it.
Well, I mean, this really did capture the feeling of a mid-'60s spy movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Totally. Absolutely, yeah.
Look at this globe. I hate this globe. Shoot it.
I like the globe with all the tentacles, yeah.
Tony
Stark's like, no, destroy.
There's that this makes me think about the scene in the Avengers at the end where Nick Fury actually tells the S.H.I.E.L.D. Council, screw you, I do what I want. But with their faces all blacked out like that, just to go ahead and leave them kind of ominous, so that way you're not getting into too much detail. But that's also for the artist.
Yeah.
So after this demonstration, Nick reiterates that he's in over his head. He's out of his league. He's not cut out for this. But then he feels something under his shoe.
There's a telephone. Not really.
It's
I like how Tony Stark is also the one that's like trying to reassure him like that he's up for the job. But yeah, there he is. There's a wire in my boot or under my boot.
Yes. Look out! There's a bomb inside this thing.
And he
And then
Picks up the chair and yeah, pretty much.
out the window. Now we're going to ignore the fact that, given what they're in, I'm guessing that window could probably withstand a normal strength man throwing a chair at it. But for the sake of this story, we're going to overlook that.
And for the sake of this shot,
I kept thinking of
that is a beautiful shot.
We talk about Kirby all the time.
Yeah.
And scenes like this, to me, is why he is the king. Just the mastery behind the scene itself. It's really just quite asounding.
I get the feeling that airplane at the top, that commercial liner, probably shouldn't have been there.
Oh no! They're always there. They're like the security for the helicopter.
Oh, okay. It just looked like a regular passenger.
There's 3 or 4 of them.
Okay.
Now they're military planes.
Gotcha.
Now, again, one of the things when we do these, and we do these with reverence, but we do point out things that kind of don't pass the smell test. One of those would be, Nick said this outfit must be top secret. I've never heard of them. How do you construct something that size without anybody knowing what it is? Now, I'm not sure. Yeah, now you may not know it's S.H.I.E.L.D, but I would imagine that's probably slightly difficult to
it's
conceal.
like when they were building the giant airliners, you had to try and conceal everything. So I mean, they hired a contractor, and then they threw the contractor away.
I mean, they could have thrown something like basically, by lining it with this reflective tile along the bottom, we are able to manipulate.
Yeah, they may have done that in a later issue. It's been a while since I've read them, but either way, that whole scene is cool as hell.
They built it. Hank Pym shrunk it down, all the stuff to where it's like putting together a Lego set. And then once it was built, he enlarged it.
I'm just wondering, did people notice? I was like, gee, it got really cloudy today.
And then a giant bomb fell out of the sky.
What on earth is that?
Going back to what Breen said, trying to throw it out the window like that, I go back to Die Hard. When he was throwing the chair against the window, would it go? Finally had to shoot it with the machine gun.
Yeah. Well, again, though, it fit the story. So
yeah, true.
Then Fury starts remembering his training, so he starts barking out orders and proves to be a natural leader. And Tony says, "We knew you were the right man for the job." So then, Fury says, "Well, somebody's got to smash Hydra. Might as well be me."
But then they said you have to give up smoking because this is a Marvel smoking free.
Not yet.
I don't like that it says cut off a limb because it's the head.
Well, that's the thing, because the movies say it's head, but I wonder if it was always limb and they switched it to head.
Because a Hydra, the creature, if you cut off its arm, it's not going to grow 2 arms.
You're right.
It's the head that is able to replicate.
Gotcha.
It would be quite awkward if it had 2 arms, just suddenly on its one side.
So the next issue, he backhands a woman with blonde hair. That's a Hydra agent.
Well, we're not talking about the next issue. We're talking about this issue.
I don't even know what the next issue is. But
no, I didn't read either.
But where does Hydra get their cool sunglasses from?
I wear my sunglasses at night. I think you're absolutely right. There's plenty of 60s spy genre films and TV that were coming out, and it does capture that. I think some better than some of the other attempts to break out into genres for Marvel.
I mean, why would you not? You're competing with James Bond. Why would you not make your own American spy thing?
Yeah.
Well, that's true. But what I was impressed with this story was, and I am with a lot of these older stories, was this is 12 pages.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they set up, from everything from showing how much danger Nick Fury was in when all 4 of the LMDs get blown away. They just take like a couple panels instead of drawing it out. Everything's just they pack so much into 12 pages.
It's showing this guy basically, no matter he was the correct choice, because he even says like, what kind of security outfit is it? You can tell there's a bomb in here. What happens when your ship goes? Your main command hub. Like, you guys are lousy. So obviously he says they need him because they're all idiots.
Well, there was in any spy organization, there's always a mole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean that's also that was like standard operating procedure for this kind of movies. So it's
true.
It hit all the tropes. But now my question for you guys is: does this make you want to at least read through the first story arc to see how they beat Hydra the first time?
Totally.
Oh yeah, it's definitely got that interest. It sparks it right from the get-go. I mean, if this was going to be coming out now, do you know how long it would have taken for him to just get to that council?
Geez, 4 issues, maybe 5.
4 issues, and then inner conflict with maybe, if we're lucky, some flashbacks. But that's not really lucky because the flashbacks suck.
He and Tony would be having their conversation Mariko Tamaki style over coffee and biscotti.
Hey, coffee is acceptable. It's the 60s.
Unfortunately, pretty sure this is long out of print, but they said this is what I've got.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
That's thick.
He's got it.
That is
2 C's.
Hold on. Let me full screen you.
3 C's, man. Good.
All right, there you go. Oh my gosh, that's a lot.
How many issues is that? That's got to be like
30,
35.
It's Fantastic Four 21 and Strange Tales 135 through. Let's see, the end of his series. There, it's got.
Wait. I gotta ask, what happens in Fantastic Four 21?
It's the hate monger, but it's Nick Fury's first appearance.
Okay.
Is not Sergeant Fury.
Oh.
It has his regular series that lasted, I think, 15 first run issues, a stray issue of the Avengers, and his Marvel Spotlight appearance.
Okay.
But this was, I mean, I think I got this for about half of what it retailed for, because this collection, unfortunately, was DOA. So I don't think it stayed in print very long.
No, I doubt it would. And it is a shame, because I would love to have that on my shelf. I'd trade Watchmen Noir for it right there.
I'm just the other thing I'm wondering too is you're talking about the security details. They got a helicopter, there's a plane, then there's that giant jumbo airliner, which probably uses a lot of jet fuel just to fly around constantly. Yeah. And then whatever they're using to power the turbines on the Hellcarrier, they didn't really say, but I'm thinking someone's got to notice. Hey, wow, we're really using a lot of oil from the Midwest or from the Middle East.
I'm sure Tony Stark probably came up with some alternative energy for it all.
Well, yeah, he probably uses the thing that's in his chest. He's another arc reactor.
Yeah, probably. That's what I would do.
Yikes. Yeah, it's $200 now.
Golly.
Holy shit.
That's insane. If it's out of print, though, I'm not surprised.
But I would have loved having a 60s style version of this Nick Fury Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Just right now. Do it right now.
Well, that would have been cool. What was it, the last season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? That would have been really cool to see.
Just seeing Disney Plus. I mean, you had the platform. Might as well make it.
That's true.
You could go ahead and use so many of the just those scenes, and you could for television, other things. You do have to spread things out a little more.
Just put Scott Eastwood in there with eye patch.
Scott Eastwood could work.
Scotty, he could. Especially, they're verging into other universes anyway. Captain Carter gets a show. Why not original Nick Fury?
OG Fury, yeah. Well, I'll tell you why. He's too masculine.
They're whitewashing a character, guys.
I can hear it. I can see the tweets.
I can't believe that they would go ahead and make him this strong black man and go to this. Who wants this? Who wants a 60s white man? Nobody. Yeah, I can see that too.
And he's a smoker. He's a bad influence.
Smoking? Constantly?
Why isn't he eating pretzel sticks?
Did you see him? He just slapped a woman on her butt.
And who is this Contessa? Why is she wearing a Starfire swimsuit?
But no. Just with this, it already sets itself up so well, and it's a complete story. Yeah. And we talk about that quite a bit. That how if you get a book now, you're going to have to wait always for another issue, and even when you finish up, there's still let's go ahead.
So I want to. Marnie has a question. She said, "Didn't this Nick Fury get a shot, or Nick Fury get an Infinity Serum or something to keep him looking young?"
I think they did that later on. That's something that that he had taken. Kept it retarded the aging process.
I thought it was sliding timescale.
They did that with Nick Fury, and I think they did
hard to do with the World War II characters.
I know, right?
They've done it. They've basically done it for all the characters because they fear the passage of time. Because with an intellectual property, you fear letting go.
I mean, what did Samuel Jackson did? His character was he in Gulf War Fury? I mean,
no idea. We have no idea.
Every time they do a modern retake of the character, they always have to see what the last war was. He fought it, and it's there's no way you could have Samuel. I believe Samuel Jackson character was in World War II.
No,
maybe he's a little young for Vietnam.
Well, you could have had him be in World War II. That's where he loses his eye. If they didn't make him lose his eye to an effing tabby cat.
I know.
But I know. I'm not salty about that at all.
You're very salty, and I am too.
Yes. Also, Marty's saying that S.H.I.E.L.D. is why contracted hammers cost $500 back in the day?
You know the old joke, like the $4,000 toilet seats that the government buys.
Okay.
The book's not being audited. They're basically making a hot book as far as
This
numbers.
Nick Fury quietly bought up stock in Stark International back in the day because Fury wanted Stark to get back into munitions productions.
Well, yeah, if you're the leader of a global spy agency that has cool weapons, you don't want your top inventor going.
I love how this Fury though. Later on, certain writers kind of made this Nick Fury into basically kind of a dick because he basically did whatever he could to, for America first.
Shame! How dare he?
I know.
Nick Fury's personality was basically whoever was writing him.
Okay,
that's kind of
some better than others.
Yes,
it's like what Stan Lee would say sometimes when asked about a fight. If you ask if Captain America is fighting Black Panther, who wins? He would say the writer. Well, the writer wins because the writer decides, and it doesn't matter if you look at the power scale because the writer is going to, at the end of the day, ultimately decide how things play out. So the factors, the setting, all that comes into play, and it's ultimately down to that. The writer will decide how the character is going to act for this issue, and sadly that creates inconsistency, but it's just the truth.
Now, Nick Fury was, his series, he got his series at the same time that Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, not Thor, Hulk, Submariner, Captain Marvel, and Doctor Strange. So basically seven characters all got their series at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Fury's, unfortunately, was the first casualty, but he ended up being a quasi-regular in Captain America.
Yeah, I was going to say, Captain America, he was his contact, in the...
Yeah, it
and
makes
he would
sense
pop
too,
up everywhere. I said, saw when we did the retrospective of the Avengers Defenders War, S.H.I.E.L.D. figures and prominently in the penultimate battle there, and so Nick Fury's been around. If Rick Jones is the quintessential sidekick of the Marvel Universe, Nick Fury is that guy that he's just kind of like the glue that keeps everything together, which of course is long gone now at Marvel. But
I'm just mad that they instead of going with David Hasselhoff, they should have went with Clint Eastwood back in the day when he was younger.
I could see that.
He was
a man's man. Everybody knew him.
By that time, wasn't he already too old?
Yeah,
he was already. Yeah. It makes me think that there's another series that I love, which is actually Master of Kung Fu. And it got into the spy game as well when it got popular once again towards the 70s. And so it does remind me of some of those stories already, and obviously it's in reverse. I think we should do the first issue of that next week. I want to do that. That's good.
What, the Master of Kung Fu?
Yes.
I don't have it. It's about the only first appearance I don't have.
Do you have the Apprentice of Kung Fu?
Yeah, because the first issue is worth hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Now it's Special Marvel Edition 15.
Yeah.
And I don't have any of the trades, and they're almost impossible to get now.
So there's no way you could read it?
Marani's
no way to read it.
Marani's continuing her story, saying that Fury got control of Stark International when Jarvis sold off his two shares to pay for his mom's medical bills.
See, and that was a Fury I didn't like. So that Fury was kind of a
dick,
a moral dick. Yeah, he was corrupt.
Oh.
For whatever reason it was that he did that. It was. I don't think that was really Nick Fury's character. I think that happened. I'm assuming in an Iron Man story.
So apparently, she continues says, Stark basically said, okay, you're ahead of the Stark International, and I'm just in Plano. Fine. I've got 9+ months of accumulated leave time, which I'm taking now.
Bye, bitch.
Peace.
Fury was cussing at Stark under his breath, but he signed stocks back over to Stark, so Stark got control back. Why? Because people would have complained.
Rhaegar, you have terrible ideas, and you should feel bad.
Don't do
I
it.
don't want the Rick Jones show. I want the Sam Picard show.
Bingman, you have terrible ideas. Stop.
I'll take the Rick Jones show if we get Marlowe.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
It's worth the price.
Totally worth the price. So there's the Jim Steranko, Nick Fury. I think it's Nick Fury versus S.H.I.E.L.D. That comes after this story, I'm assuming. Like a good ways probably after this.
Nick Fury versus S.H.I.E.L.D. is not Jim Steranko.
Oh, who am I thinking of then? Not Steranko.
It was Bob Harris, I believe.
Harris. Okay, I don't know why I'm thinking Steranko.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was late 80s.
Okay.
That led into the Nick Fury series that started in 89 that lasted, I think, 47 issues.
Okay.
And there's a really nice Jack Geis does the art for about 8 or 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
And those are gorgeous.
Is that the ones that you and Engeltein were bragging about? Being like one of the best?
Well, art-wise, but I mean, I think DJ Chichester was the writer, and he's not the greatest writer. But Jack Geis is so good that he can pretty much elevate anybody's writing.
There was one of Nick Fury Age of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's probably this one you guys were talking about. This one and what he just read.
If you in your Superman reading, have you gotten to the death of Superman yet?
Not yet.
Okay, because Jack Geis was the regular artist on Action Comics at that time.
Ironically, I got like 2 more years. Well, I mean, not right before I read it, but I'm just saying I've read from 87 to 91. I'm just getting into 1992 with the Triangle era stuff. So eventually I'll get there.
Okay, so Steranko did work on Nick Fury though at some point though, right?
Yeah, he did some of the issues of Strange Tales, and
I'm not completely.
He did
crazy.
three or four of the first 5 issues of the Nick Fury series, and the covers are just. I mean, if you've seen the covers for those first couple issues, they are amazing. I mean, Jim Steranko was not the most talented at drawing the human figure, but his layouts were just, I mean, they were up there with Jack's, but they were a totally different kind. I mean, he did things. He and Neil Adams were doing things that nobody had thought of to this point. And he also, in an issue of Nick Fury, he did a love scene with Nick and the Contessa, and he tried to sneak some stuff through the code. They didn't, because like he had like his gun out of the holster. They wouldn't do that. They wouldn't even let him show the phone off the hook.
You know what? I think I might have heard. I don't know if it was you or for someone else, but I do remember reading about the phone off the hook detail.
Yeah. They just the code would only let it be the phone was ringing and nobody was answering it.
Mm-hmm.
You think about that when you see some of the shit we get in comics today.
Anyone else notice how sly it was with Mariah to sneak in on Iron Man subject?
It wasn't sly. It wasn't sly at all. I was reading Tony Stark in here. I read Tony Stark in.
She's like
Nick
Fury. Like, you know, also Nick Fury is Iron Man. You know, is Nick Fury. It's like we're talking about Iron Man because Marani wants to talk about Iron Man. We don't care about Fury.
Nick Hugh.
Hey, Tony Stark and Iron Man were great in those days. I mean, I said they nobody talks about the first 10 years of Iron Man, but they should.
Well, that's the thing. And neither one of these guys were villains.
Because they would. There was a crossover with Daredevil and Nick Fury against the Zodiac. It was I think it was Iron Man 35.
Zodiac turned out to be Nick Fury's brother.
Yeah,
it's his brother, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it's just, like I said, there's so much cool stuff in that first 10, 15 years of Marvel that I said it's just, unfortunately, those stories are 50 years old now, and they've kind of been forgotten because I said you could have been reading comics for a long time now and never were near that far back.
You were 12 when you were reading these.
What's that?
You were 12 when you were reading these.
In 1965.
No, you said these are 50 years old.
Oh, well, no, I'd have been 10.
Stop trying to age him up.
Yeah, really. Father Time's doing a good job of that without your help.
So
it's the reason why Breen started smoking is because of Nick Fury. That's why.
Yeah.
I honestly think that this, as not an origin, because it's not the first appearance of the character Nick Fury, which I should have put Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the title. I'll fix that later. Palpatine will. Oh, fuck.
Just outed himself.
Anyway, but with this, I think I like this first issue, and it's even half an issue, more than some of the other characters. I think I like it more than some of the other origins, as it were, or the starters for a series. I think it's just got such solid groundwork, just just displayed throughout.
I like how it starts and it's just there's no it just instantly goes to running. Like the very first page, it's Nick Fury in the sarcophagus getting the LMDs made. Like there's no lead up to him. There's not he's at his desk, just I'm Mr. Fury, Agent G-Man, and he gets a summons. It's just boom. First
you
page.
Don't need it because he himself is wondering what the hell is going on.
Exactly. Yeah, you and Nick Fury, you're going on the trip pretty much at the same time.
We're together in this.
Which I like that, and I like just the immediateness and like you were saying, the whole fast pacedness. 12 pages, you get beginning. You find out who the threat is, who the bad guys are. You find this is how Nick Fury kind of gets convinced to join up with S.H.I.E.L.D. and take the fight to Hydra. It's just a great 12 pages. God, 12 pages blows my mind.
You get more story in those 12 pages than you usually are able to get out of 6 issues. And that's amazing.
Yep.
Another thing about this, Sam. Fantastic Four. Thor. Captain America. All Stan and Jack. Mm-hmm. No one talks about this. You just found out how good this is.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, sometimes I said, I'm sure, if not you guys, I'm sure some people in chat, when they listen to Aaron and I just, basically slurp all over Stan and Jack, this is why. I mean, they were just.
Oh no!
Leave the virus in the last video. Those guys really were the Lennon and McCartney of comic teams. I mean, they were magic together, and they just created so much stuff that just it lasted until the age of political correctness.
I love that every gun is basically like a laser gun.
I mean, they give them the G.I. Joe treatment.
Well, this shit is over the top, and that's what made it so great.
Well, no, because it's the comic code. He couldn't fire actual machine gun bullets, so they gave him laser guns.
Yeah,
which made it cooler because spy with laser guns.
No, you could use guns and bullets. You just couldn't show the effects of them. But for this, who's gonna shoot bullets in this fancy spy world?
I know, flying cars and flying aircraft carriers.
But he's got a laser pistol and I'm unarmed.
We should have done or there should have been a reading of this before.
Oh, we were.
There might be in the future. You never know.
There should be in the future, because even just looking it over, it's not enough. And I think there's a lot to be said, because there will be disputes about how much credit should go to where, but without and I think you've actually said this before, Breen, without the way that Stan can write a character, some of these comics would be lacking. Like you can have the general idea, and there's no doubt that Kirby deserves quite a bit of credit. I mean, just for the looks alone, and then for the story beats. Yeah. But without, I feel the dialogue, Fury as a character it would be flatter. He'd be absolutely flat. Doesn't matter if he has a cigar, if he doesn't have the personality to fill it.
I'm just saying, if we do get a Nick Fury reading here, you're going to have redneck Nick Fury.
Oh, no.
No, save that for Dum Dum Dugan.
I'm going to push the frog far away from it.
Stay away, frog.
Really, you're going to have a guy gruff, chain smoking, and not throw that to me?
You need McGruff the crime dog.
I mean, if we want George Burns, sure.
Hello. I would like to let you know that you sons of bitches are done.
I am Nick Fury.
Nick, you're perfect for the job.
I would like to go ahead and throw in my bid for Nick Fury.
Get off the helicarrier, Christopher Walken.
I'm just saying, every time Breen does it, I can't think of go back to those comic division, those morning shows he do. And he did always say, "Welcome back, comic or friends,"
Welcome back, Pixel Nation. How the hell are you?
Almost sounds like Cary Grant a little bit.
See, now I want you to go on Comics Division's channel and just start speaking like that, and just see. If you guys are both off camera, you both have the same icon and name, who is who?
I'm not that black-pilled. So.
No, I didn't say that. I'm talking about Breen. No. No, but this is a fun little series, and I sadly would wish that the show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. would have been like this.
I mean, it did. It did.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. wasn't bad. I mean,
it wasn't bad. Yeah.
It had a balance of trying to make.
I want 60s setting.
Well, that was the last season, wasn't it?
Wasn't that the last season? They did throw them back in time. I don't know how it exactly ended because
I think it went back to the 30s or something.
30s or 40s, yeah.
Yeah, but
Grump voice character. Fine, I'll give it a try. Right.
No, that I said this was just another thing that I said that Stan and Jack again. Stan without Jack, Jack without Stan wasn't the same. Mm-hmm. And as far as who gets, who deserves what credit or whatnot, I think at this point, they're both gone. Mm-hmm. I think we can all agree that Jack should have been better recognized in life, but a lot of that was Jack's fault. I mean, it wasn't Stan's or anybody else's job to prop him up. He was a bad businessman and a bad self-promoter. And I think at some point he probably started reveling in the attention that being the wronged party got him. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But like I said, it doesn't matter now. They gave us the greatest comics that we'll ever have. And I'm 100% confident in saying this stuff will never be topped. I mean, there might be better written stories, but the concepts and what these guys came up with, they're the best. That's undeniable.
Yeah, as far as creativity goes, this is definitely like the gold mine. Like any modern or most modern comics, they're just in some way or another ripping off ideas.
I do like how the Hellcat reminds you of the Fantastic Four where they had Namor and then the giant whale monster. Like it almost has the same shape as a giant whale with the arms.
What, a Gargantos?
Rhaegar, sadly, yes. Jimmy loves Bendis.
Oh, God.
The way I love Stan and Jack. Jimmy probably thinks Bendis is better than Stan and Jack.
Yeah, probably.
But it's, again, like I said, you don't have, I'm not asking people to be as big a fan of those guys as I am, but just remember, it's sort of like in music. You may not have liked Elvis or the Beatles, but without Elvis, there's no Beatles, and without the Beatles, there's no whatever you're listening to right now.
There are people that have their blood in the industry that understand that fact. I mean, not in the industry currently, but I had the privilege to see Jim Shooter a couple times. He says the exact same thing. Jack and Stan, when you have teams like that, dream teams that come together and are able to whip out these stories, they cannot compare to Bendis, who will go ahead and everything that we said earlier about issues taking too long to tell the dang story. That is Bendis. Totally. And Shooter said that about Miles Morales Spider-Man. There's nothing wrong with Miles Morales. What is wrong is that the story cannot. It's just not. You can't compare it to the origin of Peter Parker. You can't.
No.
And without that blood in the game, it does. It's a sad state.
Now, Jim Shooter gets an enormous amount of credit, and deservedly so, for presiding over probably the best 5 years not Stan and Jack. You know, when you had the Claremont and Byrne X-Men, then the Byrne Fantastic Four, Miller Daredevil, Simonson Thor, O'Neill Iron Man, which gets slighted, Stearns Avengers, which certainly gets slighted. But all that's going on in that same time period. But again, none of that happens without Stan and Jack, because they're not there. They didn't, without those two, those characters didn't last long enough to, they're probably canceled years. Who knows?
Yeah.
So that's another period that I'm glad that we had somebody. Hey, Gratu, I'm glad we had somebody like a Jim Shooter. Now, one of the things about Jim Shooter, not only did he make Marvel better, he pissed off so many people. He made DC better.
Yep.
Because he chased Wolfman, Perez. Conway, I think, had already left, so you can't take credit for that.
Byrne, it kind of it was already out the door anyway.
But we don't get the Teen Titans without Shooter pissing him off.
Yeah. Well, he would go ahead and talk about like the stories of acquiring them because DC, they were idiots. they were dropping titles. They were dropping artists and writers who were out of work. He was able to pick up those people, put them together with the right formation, and they were able to create teams that could make stories. And honestly, even with a multi-issue format, they told better stories. And I know that's getting off the track from talking about how in this not one panel, but this 12 issues of a single book, they're able to tell a better story than most are able to today. This is kind of our format. We use this as a springboard to get into a more broad-based comic conversation. I'm the baby-faced one. I'm fresh here. So that's you're fitting in perfectly. That's good. That's kind of what we do. But
Zach's a competition.
I haven't shaved in a few days. That's probably why I don't have the baby face. I shaved recently.
I did shave last night. It grew back.
It's starting to grow back down.
But one of the things about those 80s runs, 3 of them were one-man teams. Miller, Daredevil, Byrne, Fantastic Four, and Simonson Thor. They were serving as both writer and artist. So by that time, Claremont had Cockrum came back to X-Men, then Paul Smith and etc. But Iron Man, Avengers, obviously had a writer artist team, as did Iron Man. But yeah, I said those were fantastic, great time at Marvel also. But yeah, like I said, there's nothing though to me that tops. I mean, the stories were better in the 80s. I mean, but again, without the template to work from,
right?
They don't. There's no way that can happen.
Yeah.
But there's just something about all that stuff in the first 10, 12 years.
Stan and Kirby just hammering out character, And these weren't throwaway characters. These were actually really good characters. There's no such thing as a bad character, is a bad writer. If you don't know what you're doing and you have a character, you probably shouldn't be writing that character.
No, there's bad characters. They just they're never used again. But characters that are going to make it, no, there aren't. I mean, I know what E's point is on that.
Yeah.
But sometimes you create something and it just does not resonate, and you just consign to the dustbins of history.
Sometimes you can get a creative team that can actually do something more creative with that character and bring that character into the spotlight and make it more popular.
That has happened, yes.
Yeah. And you're able to fit them in a way that will go ahead and expand them.
Yeah.
To circle back, I do circle back.
Whoa.
Circle back to what I was saying about Masters of Kung Fu. Like for a while there, his series was, in the eyes of overall readers, it was getting a little stale, which is why they did the genre shift. They made it more like it was just spy work rather than a kung fu story. And honestly, it was still good. It was still, I felt, consistent with the character. And it could go on into these fun things where he's fighting on a toy land. It's insane, but it's great. And you just don't get that. You don't.
Well, one of the things that Shang-Chi had going for him was Steve Englehart wrote the early issues and Doug Mensch wrote a ton of them. They're both better than anybody writing today. I would take a Doug Mensch backup story over anything Donny Cates could come up with.
Dixon or Mensch, give me Roger Stern.
I would say, I would put Mensch maybe a tidge above Dixon or a straight up tie. I think Mensch had a little bit more range because he, if you think about Master of Kung Fu, Moon Knight, Batman, his indie titles. I mean, he wrote way more than people realize.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who else. I never knew much about Jerry Ordway until I started reading the post-crisis Superman stuff.
Jerry Ordway is as much of an artist as a writer.
Yeah.
Probably more so an artist.
So now Robert Robertson says Derek claimed Jeff Johns is the best comic or at least DC writer ever. I would say maybe for the modern, the 2000s, but I would still go back and I would say there's some probably better DC writers of different titles.
Yeah, I think Jeff Johns is a damn good writer. The best, I don't know.
I still like Roy Thomas, on some books.
Roy wrote for DC.
Roy, yeah.
Englehart wrote a lot of DC books.
Of course,
Denny O'Neil
on Superman too.
I mean, the early JSAs, the Young All-Stars, all this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, now he's the best DC writer of the 21st century. That's
That's what I'd say.
Yeah. And the only person that can even crawl into that conversation is Venditti, but Johns has a greater body of work.
Yeah.
Yes, Johns did a lot more. He did the City of the Justice, JSA,
yeah. Teen Titans, Flash, Green Lantern. Yeah.
But again, there's a whole lot of there was so much good stuff at DC from 86 through the next 20 plus years.
I liked Ordway. I liked Stearns. I loved even Dan Jurgen was writing. It was just like you had one of the best writers on the Superman titles. Not only that, you also had the Batman titles were being written by some great people too.
Yeah, but Jeff Johns definitely leads off that conversation. I think at least for the 21st century.
I would say my favorite thing by Jeff Johns still today is Stargirl. I think that's one of the best written books there is.
JSA.
Yeah.
JSA, I like JSA too.
Well, which Stargirl is a part, but his JSA.
Well, yeah, I like Goyer and then leading into the Johns.
Yeah.
Make mine Marvel was Marvel's slogan. Did DC have a slogan? Splinter?
I think they did.
If
Yeah,
Marvel,
I know they were called the distinguished competition.
That was what Marvel called them.
I thought they were just called. They're like, well, if Marvel can do it, we can do it worse.
No, that's
not today.
Yeah, DC would try to come up with hip slogans, hip catchphrases, but the bottom line, the difference between Marvel and DC was Marvel was Casual Friday, DC was the district manager is coming by the office today, every day. The writers and artists would wear suits and ties to work.
Oh,
Marvel would be, cut off jeans and flip flops, and it was a whole different.
Scenes.
They were younger. They were hipper. And DC was what you read until you hit puberty. Then you moved on to Marvel.
Yeah,
that's not to say there wasn't good stuff at DC, but their superhero line definitely aimed young, way more than it didn't. But they're by the same token, they're war western. DC had a full romance line, a full war line, a full western, and then they got really, they dove headlong into horror when the code started to relax, and they converted House of Mystery and House of Secrets into horror anthologies, and then expanded the line from there. So they're everything but comics. And they, Jerry Lewis had a book title at DC for 20 years. Bob Hope had a title that lasted over 100 issues. So they were, funny animals, comedians, basically everything. But their superhero line definitely aimed a little bit, older. But the superhero stuff definitely was aimed at the kids, squarely.
Shirley.
Don't call me Shirley.
I was thinking about something. Oh crap! It just left my mind.
Sounds like DC was Betty White and Marvel was Betty Page.
If you take a listen of Betty White later in life, Betty White is not some shining darling.
I love DC. Yeah, I love those old stories. I think Marvel had better stories, but DC had their books just looked more fun, if that makes any sense. Because you never knew what you were going to get from them. I mean, one month you're getting a new story for 12 cents. The next month, 80-page giant for a quarter. So from a collector standpoint, DC was really cool. But they didn't have a way to compete with what Marvel was bringing to the table. So once the distribution deal ended and Marvel was allowed to increase their line, within 4 or 5 years they pulled even with them in market share. And basically once they passed them, they never really looked back.
See, I thought DC was more, not really Betty White, more like Katharine Hepburn in the 70s. Just didn't give a shit anymore.
I realized what I was going to say.
It's
Right.
good. The Eagleton virus is spreading. Oh crap! I forget what I was going to say too. It's spreading.
New virus. No, when I was a boy. We talk about superhero. When I was a boy. No, when we talk about superheroes, I understand that we go ahead and lump this in with that, facing the evil organization, man against greater odds, and there are those cores. I feel like that this is verging against that, though, and I know that he obviously is in a superhero world, but something about Nick Fury has a layer above that, if that makes sense. It's not to put superheroes down. It's just as a spy, as a man of war, it just has something there that goes ahead and gives him just a finer.
What made Nick Fury work, and this might be what you're trying to say. He's at home in both worlds.
Yes.
and that's what made the character so much fun to read. Was for this first story, it was just the spy business. Then slowly, they'd revealed that Captain America knew Sergeant Fury back in World War II, so it only made sense that they would meet and rekindle their friendship, and so they were. They would go back and forth. Sometimes it'd be friendly, sometimes it'd be antagonistic, adversarial, but
it was kind of cool to see, like in those early Captain Americas by Kirby and stuff. You'd see like how Fury was now more comfortable and stuff in his role and stuff. But what's going on? Where then you'd see the same reaction from Steve as that Nick Fury had in this book. When it comes to like spy stuff, it was kind of like wasn't sure what to make of it. But he went along with it because he trusted Nick. A little contrast they had. The fear, especially when he was going after the Red Skull. S.H.I.E.L.D. would always give him these little toys he could use, for. So luckily, I had this rebreather here for or this spaceship I could go underwater with. Got from S.H.I.E.L.D.
I have to agree with Glinzer here. It is an odd match to put Nick Fury and Doctor Strange.
It's called Strange Tales for a reason. It's strange.
That's
true. Yeah, that was. Unfortunately, that was one of the effects of the distribution deal. They were only allowed to publish 8 books a month, and the other books seemed to be better paired, but they just kind of fell into that because Nick Fury replaced the Human Torch and the Thing in Strange Tales, and Doctor Strange had already been sharing a book with them for a few years, just like in Tales to Astonish. Giant Man was his series gave way to the Hulk. I'm sorry, they brought the Hulk in. What up to that point had been Giant Man and the Wasp telling stories in like Tales of the Watcher and stuff like that. 10 issues into the Hulk, they canceled the Giant Man series, replaced him with Submariner. So they didn't always. I like the Iron Man Captain America. Kind of was the best fit for two characters sharing a book because they both had been Avengers, even though in order to keep Captain America in the Avengers, Stan had the Captain America series set in World War II because he didn't want characters appearing in more than one book because it would mess with continuity. That's why the original Avengers broke up and were replaced with Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch, and Hawkeye.
Ah, okay.
Nice.
You're not good enough for your own books.
And then right after they did that, they cancel. Right after they write Giant Man and Wasp out of the Avengers, they cancel his series. So that's why they were the first ones to come back a year later.
All right.
I think.
So, yeah, definitely out of the books that you've read lately, where would you rate this as far as older books you've been reading?
In general?
This book, the quality of this issue, this story, compared on some of the newer books you've read, maybe,
I would say for being a 12-page story, I think that puts it ahead of like some of the other books that we've done retrospectives of, like Batman or whatever, where it's like a full length book, and the fact that we get like a full story here within 12 pages, I think puts it a head and shoulders above.
Yeah, it was Pixel had said, the books, they're written for the trades. Pretty much. It's cool to get 12 pages. I'm thinking like, okay, is this gonna be rushed? It didn't feel rushed. It just had a simple story. Fury is recruited, finds a bomb, throws a bomb in the wind, says, "Damn right, I'm gonna be the Director Fury."
It takes the concepts that it wants to introduce into the story and has it explained quickly enough that the character can understand it, thus we can understand it. So when you see life model decoys, when Fury learns what the hell that means, we know what it means. And for it to properly pace itself, the shock of a flying car, and even for the ways of Hydra dealing with somebody who makes one mistake. It goes ahead and it has its concepts for their organizations, for their characters, and displays it in such a way that it's not a competition. There's no way that a book that comes out right now can ever match this.
I'm trying to think of the last time I was thinking about the whole secret stuff, with the S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff. Was actually back with the Captain America movie, the MCU movie, how they went behind the little shop there and they went to the elevator and went to the little thing. Seeing this how they had the black medical decoys to basically to protect him while he got up out of the little lift on the sidewalk.
The best part of this book was it was like coming in the middle of an action movie at the time where the movie had the most action.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And that's I really like the way that story was presented, because there was all meat, no bond.
So this continued to the next Strange Tales then?
Yes.
And this kept going for 12 issues and then they dropped
it. It lasted for 35 issues after that, or total.
I'm reading everything.
Because I think it 168 I think was the last, but they were all 12 pages, and then that's when the characters all got their own books.
All right, Pixel, raise your hand again.
In our hearts, Glizner. But no, what I was going to say was I talked about the Amazing Fantasy miniseries that came out this last year, and I need to finish that. But that book is still good to me. I'm able to enjoy it. But the pacing, while I feel that it is good for what it's trying to be, it does not compare. It cannot compare to something that can throw us in and make us understand quickly and feel the consequences around our main character, Nick Fury, here.
And like I said, I love the whole setting of this, the feeling of this. It just feels like I'm watching Get Smart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You don't even need this. Is it a serious book? At least this is his story. I didn't see anything that was really funny, and proves you don't need to put a forced laugh in there to make it good.
That's true.
It has everything that it needs.
Yeah.
It would be awkward today because they probably have to throw these, because MCU has to throw little jokes in there all the time.
Yeah, so I hope you guys do read the next couple issues, and hopefully maybe even go a little farther than that, because it's definitely a fun ride.
Is it like a flying car ride?
Blinzer, Nick Fury and the Thing used to have poker nights once a month in the Baxter Building. It was Nick Fury, Ben Grimm, Jarvis, Wonder Man, Ms. Marvel, back when she was hot and a woman. So 2 of the 3 did, yes.
Okay. Well, that's good to know.
Well, Fury also had Wolverine working for him in a couple of the issues too.
If you want a good issue with that very thing, Marvel 2-in-1 issue 51 with art by Frank Miller.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Look for that in a future reading.
The frog is already. This is going to be mine.
Poker nights with toxic masculinity
on display.
Not anymore.
We're almost
over.
That
was back when Ms. Marvel was wearing her, swimsuit with the
Miss Marvel with the lightning bolt.
Yep.
And the reds. That's the best.
Back when Miss Marvel was American.
And
alcoholic.
All right.
Ron, it absolutely was patterned more after it morphed into more of a Man from U.N.C.L.E. Mission Impossible than James Bond.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it had more time to be fleshed out. I mean, you had monthly installments.
I mean, the only thing missing from these 12 issues is him walking by and just seeing guys getting sprayed with flamethrowers or just throwing knives like they did in James Bond.
Well, no, they did. That's what happened to the LMDs.
Yeah. They all got blown away.
No, but I meant as far as when he's walking through the laboratory down there, where the shield days.
Oh, by like the R&D.
R&D, with Q. Yeah. That's what made the James Bond so cool.
Yeah.
That part. But back when Miss Marvel was a miss. It's a fun story, and definitely I'll be checking out more out of this because I've always been looking at some of the Nick Fury stuff. I've read the ones with Black Widow; those are part of the Marvel.
I think Captain Marvel. I mean, I think Carol Danvers has been a miss ever since she became Captain Marvel.
I see what you did there.
Definitely not getting hit on.
Do we know what we're going to be talking about next Friday?
Well, we do now.
What, the poker game?
Is the poker game really worth a whole retrospective?
No,
Breen's got to bring his green visor. Then he has got.
No, it's
You know what? I think I have a solution. Why not have a reading here of that first issue of Master of Kung Fu? Then we can talk about it.
That'll work. That'll work. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
as long as you have two different thumbnails.
I believe, of course. I believe it's going to be Marvel Premiere 35. That's actually the first, like, Shang-Chi explaining his character and stuff. So I'll make sure. But when I make the thumbnails, because I get commissioned, I don't get paid. But.
Okay, so we're not doing the first appearance. We're going to do...
No, the first appearance.
Well, that's special Marvel edition issue 15.
My bad. Yeah,
and then when Zach's busy again, we'll do over Black Panther and talk about that.
Okay.
I like Black Panther though.
Sure you do.
Only two of us are wearing black shirts here, Zach. It's not you.
It's laundry day. It's
when he saw the Wakanda Forever trailer, he was so happy when he saw everybody was wearing white.
I noticed all the white characters he's got on his wall behind him.
What are you talking about? There's Mr. Terrific and there's Jakeem Thunder. What are you talking about?
Two people.
It's the two that they have. What do you want?
Why do you have them on the back of the wall?
Yeah.
What do you mean on the back of the wall?
Bottom? Did you put them on the bottom?
No. Well, Jakeem Thunder is on this side over here where like all the young heroes are. And then Mr. Terrific, he's over here in the middle row. He's like right next to Green Lantern.
He segregated them. I
did not segregate them. Why would you say that? Dang it, Vinkman.
It's all right.
And then there's Zoe Saldana in the Guardians of the Galaxy poster.
She's green. As Zach's people say, it's okay.
It's a black and white picture. There's no green.
That's right, and she is just as white as any of them.
And Miles Morales is on the Spider-Man. Why am I proving this? Why am I having to point out all the black hair? This is like, I'm not racist. I have black characters.
Wow.
Some of my best posters are black.
Why am I doing this?
Zach's favorite character.
Zach.
We're in the radar. Zach's favorite characters in Black Panther were Ulysses Claw, Winter Soldier, and the guy played by Martin Short.
Martin Short.
Martin Freeman.
Oh, Martin Freeman. Martin Freeman actually was. He was.
Although you mentioned that was Martin Short instead of Martin Freeman.
Martin Short is a very different actor than Martin.
And
Freeman.
you know where that character was created, right?
Agents of Nick Fury.
No, it was from the Christopher Priest Black Panther run.
Oh, okay.
Everett Ross.
I did not know that.
Wait. Didn't you read a Christopher Priest one?
I started to. I never finished it.
Right.
Just like I never finished the Captain America.
Well, that's right. You were part of that retrospective. That was on Jimmy's retrospectives.
That might have been a Jimmy one. Yeah. I wasn't part of that.
Zach said the Black Panther. No, Jimmy can do it.
That was before I started to get into these retrospectives.
Before I started to care about black people. Now I got them on my wall.
Yeah, as good as that series was, I don't want to do a retrospective on any of it because it's too new.
It is pretty new, yeah.
I mean, it's
was it 90s?
21st century or late 90s, so close
late
enough
90s,
to the
yeah.
21st century. But
yeah.
Yes, he is related to him.
All right.
But I think We are past our ticker, as it were.
Yeah, and yeah,
Only one of us is at that age.
no, I just want to go, add to my gut. So
All right, let's throw this on up because even though they aren't here and they hate us for being human, wow, I know, right?
Racist.
I know. Speciesist? Are puppets a species? They want to go ahead and ask you to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes. And leave your thoughts down below after that stream. If you're watching and the replay down below, after just leave your comments. But no, did you think this was a good story for being 12 issues, or do you think do you like it should have been longer, or are you just a fan of Bendis and just hate everything?
Don't comment, Jimmy. I better not see any comments about Bendis.
Also, if you want to, we do have a Ko-Fi link down here. So if you want to drop $1 or $5 or $10, whatever you feel like, it's not necessary, but it does go towards the StreamYard, and also goes towards keeping Breen occupied. Just giving him food for his gut, and then just it keeps Zach away from all the other people that might be offended.
Wow.
All right, let's go put this out of its misery.
Zach? Oh
no, this.
I just came back and they're killing me off.
No, just one of your clones.
Oh, okay.
This is life model decoy Zach.
All right. Good night, folks.
Good night, kids.
Bye, everybody.